All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.
What's up? And welcome back to another episode of Loose Lugs. Here again with Dustin Lewis. How you doing, Dustin?
Doing good, man. How about you?
I am good. I had a good weekend. I think the racing was pretty good all around.
Mm-hmm.
It was good to see Cole Custer finally win something that mattered. He's been. I'm not a Cole Custer fan. I think he's coming along, I'll say, but he's got a long way to prove to me he deserves to be in that ride.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It wasn't. I really enjoyed the racing in the Cup cars. The next gen A+ for me.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just racing. It was the contact with the wall, several drivers. In last year's car, I mean, that would have been, the toe would have been knocked out, the camber would have been way off. They'd have broke something serious. It would
Yeah.
have been end of day. And instead, you get, like Chase Elliott, he got into the wall early. He ended up spinning out, but it was a great comeback for him. Wes Pruitt, he just joined us over at Sports and Culture Media. It was great to see the 43 running up front. I have questions. What adjustment did they make on the 43? He was my guy. I picked him to finish that off after Tyler Reddick faltered. Things went that left rear tire going down and the spin and everything. He couldn't recover like some of these guys were able to.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, we'd have been talking about Tyler Reddick's first career win. But it was great to see the 43 up there doing some great laps, great racing. What is your take, Dustin? What do you feel?
I'm just like you. This next gen car has thoroughly impressed me. When you compare it to the Gen 6 car, it's a night and day difference. And maybe the package has a little bit to do with it. They were running 550 before this. Now they're running 670. I don't know. This car is completely different.
The rear end diffuser, I'm loving because it's eliminating a lot of the dirty air. I mean, that's what you hear these guys complain about every race last year, for years,
Mm-hmm.
really, with the Gen 6 cars. The dirty wake and the dirty air was, I mean, if you're up front, you've almost got too big of an advantage because the guys behind you aren't getting downforce. They're not able to use their car setup designed the way it is because there's no front end downforce.
Yep.
Rear diffuser on these cars has made it to where I think that's not as much as an issue. We saw guys pass through the pack from, they'd come from 12th to the front with no problem. When any race last year, we didn't have Auto Club last year, but any race, once you got up front, you could stay there unless you had a problem, or you really just had to be that much quicker to get by somebody. From that aspect, yeah, I think the racing was excellent. Pick a driver, putting you on the spot here, okay? Don't freak out.
I'm not.
Pick a driver that over expected on their trajectory. So, you're thinking, Eric Jones should have finished, outside the top 10 like a normal 43 day. Pick somebody that overachieved, I should say.
I gotta go with the guy that finished second, Austin Dillon. I firmly believe if we'd had a few more laps, we would have been seeing the 3 car in victory lane rather than the 5 car. He looked extremely racy on those last few laps. I really thought he was going to pass the 5 car at a few points.
Yeah. I mean, he had a really strong car when he made that move to the very bottom with 2 to go and got himself in position. I really thought he was going to get Kyle Larson.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to start talking about collars in it because that's going to be a big debate. I feel it brewing. But oh, sorry, that was a message. Oh, your keyboard is clicking in the background. That's what it was. They were asking what the noise was. I was like,
Oh, yeah, that might be my roommate. He's playing Madden, so that might be what they're hearing.
oh. Okay, what team is he playing as?
Hey, I think he's doing the multiplayer right now, just doing like the workout stuff, like with that my player stuff. I think.
Different show.
I'm not entirely sure.
We'll worry about it on a different show. Anyway, I'll go overachieve. I'm going to go deeper in the field and go BJ McLeod in the 78. Those guys came home 22nd. They were off the lead lap for a little while, and then they never fell off the lead lap. And it's not like they had a top 5 or a top 10, but I mean, they ran much better than they would have last year. What's up, Lennon?
Mhm.
Thanks for checking us out. Lennon he's also with ASAP. He's also with Sports Culture Media. Some of these guys showing up and supporting. I appreciate that. We're doing good. Appreciate you stopping by. Yeah, I would go with BJ McLeod. He's that's a very underfunded team. Very. That was the one Matt Tift owns Live Fast Motorsports. We were talking a few shows ago about conversation in Talladega with him where he was like, man, I don't even know, how we're going to swing it because there's no used parts. I mean, they were piecing together teams last year by buying used parts. There are no used parts for this car. And according to some of the data, those kind of deals won't happen at all this season. You won't get used parts. So I think you're going to see guys racing, the single car underfunded teams, very conservative. I hope they mix it up and get some really good finishes. For being conservative, this was a great finish for Live Fast Motorsports. Now, opposite spectrum, who underachieved, who you thought was going to do great and just flopped?
That's that's a really good question because if you look at the top 10, it doesn't look like a top 10 from last year. You see a lot of guys that you probably wouldn't have thought would have finished that high. And you see Austin Dillon second. You see Suarez in what? Did he finish? No, he finished fourth.
Fourth, yeah.
Fourth. A lot of guys did really good this race. You really saw these guys. Like if this was meant to be the reset button for for the previous generation car, it did its job. There was not one team that really said, "Okay, we got this car figured out. We're gonna dominate." No, all the teams are on the same foot. For a guy that underachieved, I kind of want to say Alex Bowman. I didn't really see him a whole lot during the race. I thought at one point he was blowing up, and I think he did. Did he? I saw.
Well, he had a flat tire.
Oh, that's what it
He didn't get the DNF, but he may have had a DNF there at the very end. I'm not sure, but he actually raced his way into the top 6 for a while, and looked like he was going to get a great, top 10 finish. Just fell apart. That left rear tire, I think, was the same thing on him. A lot of left rear tires, which is kind of backwards. You don't usually see too many left. It's always the right rear. It's giving these guys problems. But let's see. I would have to go with Kyle Busch. There's a lot of hype going in. 4-time winner, going for 5. Qualified decent. I'm not sure what happened with them, but before the tire issue even happened, he was off the pace. He didn't have speed. The Toyotas didn't really have speed, which was odd to me. I mean, they were all having problems. The only guy I saw consistently moving forward was Kurt Busch, but let's be honest, he started dead last. There's only one way to go from dead last.
Yeah.
So,
wasn't he the only Toyota in the top 10? He was the highest finishing Toyota. I'm pretty sure he was.
I'll check. I know Denny Hamlin had a water issue. He was overheating bad, and then they fixed that, and he came back and was running top 5. Let me see exactly where he finishes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Kurt
he was
Busch was the
number.
highest finisher in the Toyota camp, 8th.
And then Truex, Kyle Busch, which for Kyle Busch to come back from 4 laps down and to finish 14th, I'll give it to him. But he underwhelmed. Denny Hamlin 15th. But Hamlin was kind of looking racy there at the end. Didn't work out. I don't know, man. There was guys that moved throughout the race, and coming from 4 laps down to get even close to the top 10, I'll give it to Kyle there. But I still, still think he underachieved for the lofty goals I'm sure he set on himself.
Yeah. It just didn't seem like the Toyotas came with their A game in mind.
Yep.
I don't know. Maybe next week, maybe Las Vegas will be a good step in the right direction for them.
It's our 1.5-mile tester. I like that because this is the first not super speedway. I almost consider California a super speedway.
It's fast, so yeah.
It's very fast, and these guys are not out of the gas all that long. The handling characteristic does play a role, but it doesn't play as significant as you do Las Vegas. I mean, if you don't have everything dialed in, your car is going to be crap. So I would say this is the real test. This was a great test to California, and I loved the racing. I really did. I'm excited to see what we get out of Vegas. If we get similar racing, I'm sold. This is an upgrade.
Absolutely. Yeah. I completely agree with you.
So the other things to talk about, Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott. This is not the first time that this has happened. Chase was making a move to the outside. Larson said on the radio he didn't see him or he didn't know he was there or whatever. I call BS on that. He
Really?
completely turned to the right to make a block. Think about it this way. If you are Kyle Larson and you're defending the outside, would you dart to the outside with a guy under you, or would you stay right there in the middle of the track to pinch off the guy on the bottom? You don't want him to come up and get an arc down in the turn. I'm saying I'm staying right there. You can even enter that turn where he's at and drift up and use the high line, whereas the guy on the bottom cannot do that. If he doesn't get the pinch and turn, there's no reason Kyle would have made that right-hand turn.
That's a good point. Because I even thought that was an odd move by him to leave that inside lane open rather than pinch him down there, keep him pinned there, make him slow down in the corner. But I mean it's an odd look. Odd look. Teammates doing that to each other.
Your dad said the same thing you did. He said, I think if Austin Dillon had a few more laps, he would have found his way around Larson. I totally agree. Maybe even just one more lap. I mean, he was there. I think he just needed one more really solid turn. I think if he catches, knowing how Austin Dillon drives, he goes for broke.
Mm-hmm.
If he can touch Kyle Larson, I think he spins him.
It wouldn't shock me.
Away for the win.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me if he did have the chance to do that.
I go back to my favorite Tony Stewart quote because I'm not a big Tony Stewart fan either. But the man said he would spin his own mother for a championship or a win. Either one.
At least he's honest when he says it.
Yeah, I don't know that I'd spin my own mother. Maybe a brother. But not my mom or my dad, because that's just asking for trouble.
Yeah, you're asking for a come to Jesus meeting when it's all said and done.
Yeah, if I've got to spend my brother, I might, I'd make it to where we still finish first and second, but I probably finish first. I mean, you got to think of it this way: it's a moral obligation to your sponsors, to your fans, to your team. Riding around second when you could go for a win is bad for business.
Mm-hmm.
So I totally understand where some of these guys come from when, they put a bumper to them with, white flag is out, and they take the win, and whoever was leading finishes second, I support that because you, even as teammates, as long as you don't wreck them, you got to do what you got to do for your team. Yeah, I bet. I don't think he's going to test that either.
I wouldn't.
Your mama don't. Oh.
Yeah,
He's right.
if I did that, because mom is super competitive. If I did that, I'd never hear the end of it.
I know I wouldn't. Anyway, yeah, I'd give my brother a bumper in a heartbeat. If I knew that we'd still finish first and second, there wouldn't even be a hesitation. I'd wait till the last corner on the last lap, give him just enough to get him up out of the racing groove, and I'm gone.
Yep.
That's
It's just
racing.
what you do. Yeah, it's racing.
Okay,
Exactly.
so the implications are long lasting for this Larson Elliott thing. I don't think it'd be as long lasting a week ago. And I say it this way for a reason. A week ago, there was still a chance that after this year, Chase Elliott could go on to another team. Now he's wrapped up through 2027. I don't think he would go anywhere anyway, but if this progresses and these guys don't bury the hatchet somewhere, they're teammates till at least the end of next season.
Mm-hmm.
Probably longer because I don't see Mr. H letting Kyle Larson walk. So these guys really got to figure it out, and they really got to get past it. If they don't, it's going to cause issues for both teams. And these guys see each other on a daily basis. I'm sure their teams see each other on a hourly basis in the same race shop. This isn't one of those you can write off as Chase Elliott and Kevin Harvick where you're going to get it when you get it. No, this is you guys live in the same house. You live in the same bed. You've got to bury the hatchet. And it can't be easy for them. It's easy for me to say. But for Chase Elliott, this is the second time that he's made a big move. This one for the lead. The last one I don't recall was for the lead. I think it was just late in the race. Larson put a big block on and put him in the wall. That was last year, but it carries over. These guys they remember. The Jimmy Spencer effect.
They remember. They don't forget what you do to them at a racetrack.
I wouldn't either. I mean, it's kind of what you do. You see the same set of guys every week. It's not like you're a football team and we won't play the Packers again until 2026. Nope, you're going to race that guy in 6 days.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
It probably is the most unique situation because you literally, unless it's the last race of the year, you are literally going to see them again in a week, no matter what. So anyway, I will say that I thought the move was dirty. It was a late block, and I'm going to call it dirty. He's done that. I don't want to say the championship changed him because he was a little like this before. He's a very aggressive blocker, just like Joey Logano. And that's what I can't stand about Logano. At least this year at the 500, Logano took the blame for his late block. And I think that was the duel.
I think it was the duel.
And in past times, I don't know that Joey Logano even takes the blame for that pass or that block. You've got to know your limitations on, when you can throw a block like that. And Larson, there's no way. There is a camera now with a screen on the dashboard. You have a mirror. You have a display on your dash that is a literal camera out the back. You can't tell me he didn't know he was there.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta agree with you. I mean, to me, what makes it so odd is he was pinching the guy on the inside, Now, I mean, granted, you do coast up the track to give yourself a wider entry into the corner, but he had plenty of time to ease up the racetrack, then dive it off the corner. He just steered it right.
Yeah.
I was like, I need to be on that. I need to be out there right now.
And that hurt Chase. It could have ended Kyle Larson's day just as easily. They could have took out the guy on the bottom, which I believe was Eric Jones. I may have to go back and look at that again.
I think it was maybe.
It may have been Austin. No, Dylan wasn't that high yet. Anyway, I think it was kind of a dirty move. It's one that, Rick Hendrick should probably talk to these guys about. Hopefully he's already done that. And these guys can move on. I kind of expect, after seeing chase him down the hill when he was lapping him, I don't expect this to go away right away.
Larson's spotter came out today and said it was his fault.
I don't agree with that either. It can be the spotter's fault all day.
It was Logano on the inside.
It was Logano. Okay. The thing with the spotter, those guys tell you when you have a run. They're not always going to tell you when there's a guy moving to the outside in time. You still have to feel that. And I just don't see a reality where he doesn't see Chase make that move and still moves up the hill, not buying it.
Yeah. I mean, I like Larson. He's like you said, he's a very aggressive driver, very aggressive blocker. And that's something that I can't even say for a fact that I can't even make a case for that being, my fault, accident. I just can't do it. I can't do it.
Well, enough beating a dead horse. I feel bad for him. I think, minus that, he had a real chance to win that race, and it would have been an even bigger story coming from, 2 laps down as well, having a beat up race car and still winning the race. That would have been huge. Didn't happen. Kyle Larson gets the win. I'll say congrats to him. He starts his title defense early. Let's move on. And I think the next step would be Tyler Reddick. I cried inside when he cut that tire. I really did, because he has been dominant all season now. I mean, you go back to every single, even the Clash, he pulled away during the Clash. He was going to win the Clash. I truly believe it. Had a great speed weeks, was having a great Daytona 500.
And Daytona things happened.
Yeah, Daytona happens to, I think, everyone. I would expect that at Daytona if I were any of the 40 drivers. But to happen at California, and I almost place blame on Goodyear and NASCAR. We saw a lot of left rear tires coming apart. There should have been more than a 15-minute practice session for the qualifying to at least get some tire data. I mean, you're basing the what do they call it, the first caution, the
competition caution.
Competition caution. Thank you. You're going to tell these guys, well, we'll give you a competition caution to check your tire wear. Can you make adjustments at the track for tire wear in the middle of a race? Absolutely not. The only thing you can do is tire pressure. You can't change the caster or the camber, none of it. And that's how you alleviate that. And they don't have a wedge in these cars anymore. It's gone. Yep. They have a basically, I don't know what's called, like a universal adjustment point that is supposed to be a little better for adjusting the car. We'll see. That's going to take some time to work out too. There's no track bars. There's no, this is a different beast altogether. So to give these guys limited time to practice, and then the competition caution is for your tire wears, that's laughable.
Yeah, I agree. It's, tire failures, I mean, they happen, but the amount of tire failures we had at Auto Club, that was unacceptable. I mean,
It was a lot.
Goodyear should have known. I mean, they got tons. I mean, I know this is a different tire and all that, but they got tons of data on tires. They should know. They should have just said, "We'll play it safe. Let's harden the compound just a little bit. This is a new car, new tire. Let's play it safe and let's have fun."
Yeah.
But yeah, it's past. I mean, hindsight's 2020.
And ergonomically speaking, to have that many left rear tire issues tells me that these guys were running a lot of what do you call it, skew,
Hmm.
when the left front is pointing where the back rear is not. You can get the front tires can stick out to the left further than the rear, and it's called skew. I think these guys are running a lot of that, and that probably was the biggest cause. I can't see. I've run a lot of simulations, iRacing, NASCAR on the games. The left rear tire is never the one you have to worry about.
Hmm.
It's actually harder to make that thing wear than it is to get it to handle the car. It's not a car you pivot on, or a corner of the car you pivot on when you're doing setups. So it's a little odd, but I don't know what was going on. And I feel for Tyler Reddick. I feel for some of these guys that had really fast cars and it didn't quite work out.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean, like you said, he. I really thought after stage 2, I was like, this kid's gonna win it. No one can stop him. He's too fast. And then that happens. I was like, that's got to be the biggest gut punch he could have ever felt in his racing career. To be that fast, to have a car that good, to have a tire failure ruin your day, that is heartbreaking.
yeah, and he's going to get more chances. RCR they're clicking right now. They are
Oh yeah,
showing strength. Um, they're consistently showing up in strength. It's not a fluke anymore. This might be the springboard season. We see RCR, plan for a third car next year. I don't think it's a big mystery. They brought 2 drivers up that are rookies to the Xfinity series. I mean, they're going to get back to 3, I would say 4 cars in the next 3 years. I don't think they rush out and go full time next year with both Sheldon Creed and Austin Hill as rookies. I'm not really sure that Austin Hill is the answer. He's a great driver, and I think he needs to prove his skill at some of the shorter tracks. But Sheldon Creed he's a talent. He's a very talented racer, and he could be that guy that comes in on a kind of a part-time schedule and makes it click.
yeah, I agree. I don't see any faults in that little theory. I really don't.
RCR hasn't been more than 2 cars strong since the early 2000s, I believe.
Yeah. Well, let me think here. Yeah, you're right.
They had Harvick. It was Harvick and Burton for a little while, Harvick and Newman, then
Hmm.
Harvick and Clint Boyer. Matter of
Yeah.
fact, Boyer
No,
might have been before Newman.
it was. Let's see. Let me think. 2010. That would have been Harvick in the 29, Boyer in the 33, and I want to say Burton in the 31.
So they did have 3 cars then. I forgot about that.
Because Boyer raced for RCR for just a few years,
Right.
and then he jumped to Haas. Or no. I'm saying that wrong. He went to Michael Waltrip after RCR.
I think that was before RCR. I'm gonna have to do some research on that. I feel like he landed at RCR because he was in the 07.
Yeah.
And then I think he went to Michael Waltrip Racing. And when that fell apart, I think he then went to RCR, but I'll have to do research after the show. I can't, that's a bit blurry, but I feel like that. Anyway, it would be really nice to see them go back to a 3 or 4 car team, and they have a really good coalition right now. The engine shop that they're sharing, they have, I think, 6 different teams that have pushed an engineer into the ECR engine room. And I think that's really helping them get some of these engines back to the standards that we saw when Dale Sr. was running there. And Kevin Harvick too. I mean, they had horsepower for days. It would be nice to see them get back to winning races consistently. Yep, Skinner was he was in the 31 from, I want to say, 92 or 93 until 2002? 2001?
That's 2001 sounds right, because
He may not.
I can't remember if he drove for RCR in 02. I can't remember.
He may have already been out in 2001. I'm gonna take a look.
Let me see.
Anyway, we can check that after this. But yeah, Mike Skinner was a
01. That was his last year with RCR.
Was it?
And then he jumped ship.
He was a talent that never blossomed. I think the only race he ever won was the Motegi race, and that was not a points paying race. That was an exhibition race.
Yep.
He won some truck races. I don't think he won anything in the Cup Series other than that. Anyway.
Yeah, getting a little off topic here.
Way off topic. That's okay. So, what was the other thing I was going to bring up? Let's see. Checklist. Oh, yeah. So, what did happen to Eric Jones? That is a great question. I would love to talk to his crew chief or Eric Jones himself and find out if they made an adjustment there at the very end of the race, that last stop. Because when Reddick cut that tire, I immediately switched to thinking, this is Eric Jones's race to win. I mean, he's going to give GMS Petty their first win as a group.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed like whatever they did to the car, it just didn't take and it didn't stick. He was still fast, but I mean, he went from being the only guy that could catch Reddick to barely hanging on to a top 5.
Yeah.
So something changed.
I think they may have messed with the tire pressure just a little bit, because you heard Larry McReynolds talk about, I think it was the last 2 cautions he was talking about the tire pressure changes. Do you increase the pressure to make the tires turn on faster and you be faster in the short run, or do you wait a little bit, keep the pressures low, and then if there's no more cautions, then the tires turn on? And I think Eric Jones's team banked on there being no more cautions, or not that many cautions, to where we could actually get a longer run, and that's not how it worked.
Well, whatever they did, it did not work. And what did he come on, third?
Third. He was just in front of Suarez.
And I'll say it again. I said it during the race. When Daniel Suarez went to the bottom, I said race over. They're going to catch him and pass him right here. And Larson flew right by. Had the lead. Should have taken the outside line away. I mean, he knew that it had been hard to pass on the bottom all day. I mean, all day. As it always is there. If you've got a car that can run up top, you run it.
Yeah.
And as soon as he turned left to the bottom, I said to Fran, that's it. He just lost the race. He's going to lose the lead right here on the backstretch, and bam, just like that, gone.
Yeah.
And that would have been Trackhouse's first win. It would have been huge.
Yeah. I mean, third and fourth is great runs for those teams, but I mean,
A win would have been breakthrough.
a win would have been incredible to have, especially
Yeah.
the second race of the season.
Yeah, and it's Auto Club. It's not like you're stealing a Daytona or a Talladega race. You're working for this one. You're not
Mhm.
looking your way into it or just being in the right place at the right time. You had a fast car all day. You're making a statement. That's the way I would have seen it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it wasn't luck that he qualified. Jones qualified second. He ran up front all day. He led 16 laps, 18 laps, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
He had a good race. He had a good car. Hated for him. He'll get another one. He's not new to winning. He just needs to get one for that organization. Give them some extra confidence going forward. And that's another team that's benefiting greatly from having a second car. Granted, I am very disappointed with the driver they picked for the 42. I don't think Ty Dillon is the right guy for that spot. Hopefully he works it out and he becomes a very consistent driver and helps that team. That's the biggest thing. Um, I think the last thing I really wanted to touch on, and we can kind of free flow, is let's do a Las Vegas preview.
Oh,
Statistically speaking, Vegas has been a very good track to the Toyota guys.
hmm
I don't know that I can give any of the Toyota guys an advantage. We don't have any data on this car.
Ooh.
And standings wise, the Toyotas are struggling so far.
Yep, I
mean,
agree.
Up until Kyle Larson's win, the only make to have won anything was Ford. But Toyota hasn't even, other than Truex, winning stages at Daytona, they haven't shown muscle. I think they're still working out some kinks. And we talked about this before the season started. We talked about the amount of Chevys and Fords having an advantage when it comes to testing because they can share notes. They can, give manufacturer feedback. There are a total of 6 Toyotas. How much information can they possibly reciprocate between teams? Because there's only 2 teams.
hmm
Between teams and manufacturers. So I think that's what you're seeing right now is being behind the power curve because you look at the Ford and Chevy notebooks is probably this big. Toyota's is probably that big.
Yep.
And it's going to be that way until we hit about mid-season. And then you'll see them make some noise.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I look for them to get this car figured out before the end of the year, but I'm very afraid that it might be a little too late by then for them to really do anything with it. They might have to carry it over to next year.
Well, we'll see. The season is young.
Yeah,
A lot of
still
things
young.
can change. I'm going to say the Fords probably have a really good weekend here as well. Other than Kyle Larson and some of the other Chevys having to say a lot about it. Ford won the pole this past weekend.
Yeah.
Ford won the pole, or won the duels. I'm sorry, won the duels at Daytona.
hmm
They won the race at the Clash. Ford is back, where they had such a dismal year last year. Ford is back. They're doing great, and I think you see another Ford pole, and probably a Ford winner. And I think this is a race where I know I picked him last week. I'm going with Kevin Harvick again. This is the kind of track he's going to get a win somewhere in here. The man has not won since 2020. He's gonna boot somebody. He might even get out mid race and slash somebody's tire, and then get back in the car and go win.
Oh, I don't know if I can agree with you on Harvick though. I don't know if I can. I have okay. He did good at Auto Club. I think he finished in the top 10. I think he finished 8.
Right.
Am I right? Yeah, 8.
Pretty sure. I'll double check, but I think that was right.
I'm not going to say
No,
Harvick. I'm not going to do it. 7th. Okay. Well, a little bit better. But I'm not thinking Harvick. I'm not going to think Harvick here.
You're gonna go Chevy, aren't you?
No, I'm actually really torn. I want to say Larson one more time because I was right last time. Granted, I think a little bit of luck had to do with that one, but I'm not real sure. Actually, controversial pick here, but I think Joey Logano might do really well here.
That's actually a really good pick. It's also his sponsor track. It's the Pennzoil 400.
I think Logano is going to be the favorite for this one. We've seen in the past he runs really, really good at Las Vegas.
I was down to 3 drivers: Harvick, Logano, or Brad Keselowski. And it's not that I think Brad Keselowski is going to win necessarily. He's going to be racy. This is a really good track for him too.
Mm-hmm.
And they have built up some speed already in those cars. I didn't think they'd win or compete for a win this year. I thought this would be a kind of a bust year for them getting organized, getting things, but they have done really well so far. I mean, if you go back to the Daytona 500 and things play out just a little different, we're talking about Brad Keselowski winning the 500 in a Roush car.
Yeah.
I mean, he just needed the push. He was there. There'd have been a lot of mad people if the guy wrecking everybody won the race, but anyway.
But yeah, I mean, I like the Keselowski pick. I was thinking Logano or Keselowski, mainly because Logano is good at Vegas, but Keselowski is really good at Vegas. He knows how to drive Vegas, and I was just like you. Me and you both said RFK is not going to be we figured it was not going to be a team. It was going to compete for wins. It was going to be like they're get the feet under them, build up a little bit, and then next season let's see what they can do. But they did well in the 500. I mean, they did okay at a auto club, and now they're going to a mile and a half. That's really good for Brad Keselowski. I mean, I'm thinking Fords are going to do really good here. I'm thinking Logano might win it. That's my pick. Lock it in. Logano's my pick.
I like it. I will kind of add this to that pile. Do not pick a rookie for this race. This has historically not been great for rookies.
No.
I wouldn't pick Cindric like people have been because the guy wins the 500, wins the pole. I don't think he's going to have a great day here. He actually did really well at California. I'll give him that. Fontana was good to him. He had a good car. Things didn't quite work out for him, but he didn't have a terrible finish. It could have been much worse. So
much worse.
For a rookie, I think he's still leading the points.
Yeah, he's got the points lead. He's got the points lead by 8 points over Joey Logano's teammate.
So, I mean, like I said, Fords are back. Fords are dominating right now. Larson got away with a win there. I think he got away heavily with one from Chase Elliott, but maybe even Joey Logano if he makes that move and they both wreck. Talking about Joey winning this race, and then you're in a different boat because then you're talking about every points race this year had been wins by Penske.
Mm-hmm.
So, even the non-points paying race, that was Joey Logano. So,
yep. And something else I kind of want to point out: the top 10 in points right now, 6 of them are Fords.
Yeah. How many Toyotas?
2, and 2 Chevys.
And that Chevy is only there because he has a win.
The other Chevy is Eric Jones.
Yeah, and he earns it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally agree with him being there, the top 10 in points.
Yeah, he's doing great things. I'll work on him, see if I can get him on the show. I've done a few interviews with him. He's a low-key guy. He likes to talk. He likes to hang out. See if we can get him on. The next few weeks, we are going to have Jerry Punch, the doctor, will be on the show. I'm working out right now with him. He's been in Florida, but he's home now. He said he's locked and loaded.
Heard that. I'm liking that.
Yep, I think that's going to work out well. And then Matt Tifta is still good for a Monday. He's a busy guy. We're going to have to play him by ear. He may just shoot a message one day and be like, I'll be on the show tonight. Cool. I'll take him. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
Other than that, what else you got?
I think that covers everything. We've done talked about all the headlines from Fontana, done a preview for Vegas. I think that covers everything.
Yeah, I think so too. I feel like we hit a lot of good stuff here. I want to thank ASAP again for production and everything else they do for us. They run everything for the show. Tony Hollinsworth is our producer. He's behind the scenes somewhere just smiling at us and laughing because we look like two rednecks from the South. Well, we are two rednecks from the South. Tony, deal with it. But yeah, I'd like to thank ASAP. They do great. Sports and Culture Media for giving us some of the opportunities we get as well. And as far as ASAP goes, you can catch them on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, the normal places. But then you've got Tiki Live TV. You've got a spot on the Roku channel, Amazon. They are always expanding, always getting bigger. Those guys do amazing things. There's a lot of great shows on ASAP, so make sure you check them out too. And we appreciate your time. We will see you next week.
All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.